Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is the Miro Consulting webinar on Oracle's Java licensing and all the changes they've made recently. We're just going to wait another minute to let everyone log in, and then we'll begin the presentation. Thank you. Okay, hello again, and thank you for joining us. This is the Miro Consulting presentation on Oracle Java. We'll start the presentation in about 30 seconds. We just want to give everyone a chance to log in. So thank you for your patience. Okay, so it begins. Hello, thanks for joining us. And if you've not joined us for a webinar this year yet, Happy New Year to you and your team. This is the Miro Consulting webinar on Oracle Java licensing. We're going to cover everything from when Java was first required to be licensed back in 2019 up until today, where we have brand new information that may have real ramifications for you and Java compliance in your organization. My name is Stefan Singh, the marketing manager here at Miro Consulting. This presentation was prepared by Tim Hegedus, who is our Director of Technical Services and an expert in all things related to Java licensing. I have my team of analysts on the call with me today, so if you have any questions, feel free to use the question box and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. Additionally, I imagine that many of you are like me and you're going to feel tempted to screenshot every slide and take heavy notes on everything that's discussed. Don't worry about any of that. We're going to send you a link to a recording of this video and also our Java licensing guide, which will contain all the tables and data from this presentation. Now, there will be a lot of data presented here in this presentation, so if you ever go to any Java webinar other than ours, which doesn't have a lot of data, that's probably an organization that you may not want to take their word at face value. Having the data is really the most valuable thing if you're trying to understand compliance, so let's dive into it. Okay, so a bit about who we are. Miro Consulting is a leading global provider of software asset management and subscription management services for Oracle, Microsoft, IBM, Amazon Web Services, and Salesforce. We specialize in license management, audit advisory, negotiation tactics, support management, and cloud services. So essentially what we do is we help you get a better ROI on your software license subscription investments, help you stay in compliance, and navigate audits. Now, the best part about all of this is the promise we make to our clients, our performance guarantee. Now, it's pretty straightforward. In our engagements, we can ensure that our fees will be less than your cost savings. This ensures that there's no risk to you, which is a big reason why we have so many clients that love to work with us. So if you're looking to save money on any of these vendors or you're concerned about an audit, please contact us. Okay, so now for our agenda today. We're going to talk about the changes that have happened since 2019, but we're going to do a real focus on 2023. Some of you have probably heard some of the information before, but many times we've come across people that have been misinformed. We find people that are getting their information from other sources on the internet that don't know what they're talking about and don't directly talk to Oracle to get the information. So the information we're providing here, we've gone and verified with the Oracle team themselves. So the numbers are correct and we're not off by any data point. So we're going to cover different types of subscriptions and different types of agreements. Additionally, we'll also talk about the Java sales inquiry, which is definitely not an audit and just a sales inquiry. A little bit of sarcasm there. You'll see why later. We'll also discuss some of your options regarding this, and most importantly, we're going to tell you what the gotchas are. So if your plan was to sign up for a year of Oracle Java subscriptions and then move off, we've got some bad news for you. So let's continue and discuss everything. Okay. So you've been wondering about Java audits. I can tell you they are definitely in progress. This is not an idle threat. Companies have been buying Java, and Oracle has been calling companies for subscriptions. From what we have seen, they've been starting at the larger end of the market. They're starting with government clients and also with their clients that have other Oracle products. So right now, we estimate about 20% of Oracle clients have purchased Java licensing. But you need to know that being an Oracle client is definitely not a prerequisite to being audited for Java. We've spoken with many of our clients that have gotten audited and they didn't use any of their Oracle products. But if you are a major large organization or a governmental organization, you're the first on the list of companies Oracle is calling up to tell that you need a Java license. Now, we've been assisting dozens and dozens since they've started this. We've probably helped more than anybody else in the industry, and we can definitely help you. Okay. The first question I like to ask the audience here is, what is your Java plan? Now, we have a great system here where you give me an answer and we'll send you all the results of our polls. We'll send it so you have an idea of what your peers are doing and what are the market trends at the moment. Now, we've been doing this webinar for quite some time, and we've seen that less and less people are interested in doing the quote-unquote wait and see approach. We definitely don't recommend doing nothing. At the minimum, you're going to want to see what your position is. Okay, I'll give everyone a few more seconds to get your answer in. Now, we've seen more and more people moving towards the purchase, and we've seen more people replacing Oracle with non-Java alternatives. Those numbers have consistently increased as we've been doing the webinar for the past year and a half now, which is definitely encouraging. Like I said, we don't recommend waiting for the inevitable. Okay, we'll give this a few more seconds. Okay, perfect. Thank you for your responses. We'll send the poll results after the webinar when we've had a chance to count them all. Okay, so now let's discuss Java pricing and how it's structured. Well, it used to be per named user and per processor. Essentially, it was defined by users and technology. So if the system was using Java, it needed it. If the user was using something that needed Java, they needed it. Well, that changed almost a year ago officially. In January 2023, Oracle announced that every employee requires a Java license if anyone is using licensable Java at your organization. Now, what do they mean when they say every employee? What that means is that even if they don't use Java or even if they don't use a computer at all, in the eyes of Oracle, that still counts as an employee. So if that employee just sorts mail or sweeps the floor, they still require a Java license. And it doesn't stop just there. It also means that everyone that associates with you, your full-time, your part-time, your temporary, your contractors, your agents, your outsourcers, your consultants, if they're on the books in some way, they count as an employee. I want you to really absorb the gravity of that. Depending on your company, maybe you have a lot more seasonals, you might have people that contract out for you and qualify. The definition is really expansive, and while you wouldn't consider them initially, trust me, Oracle will. Okay, now as I mentioned, the metrics used to be per processor and named user plus. For that, it was a perpetual Java SE license. But again, now it is per employee. So please remember that, and that is even if they don't use a computer. Also keep in mind that Java can be anywhere. So even if you're thinking that an employee doesn't use a computer, maybe they're using a handheld. Maybe they're using some other system they're punching into. These days, Java is pervasive and literally everywhere. We tell our prospects and clients that if they use electricity, you might as well check it for Java. Okay. So a question we often get asked is, what if I already purchased Java under the old metrics? Well, the answer is you can breathe a bit easier. You're in the clear if you bought it under the named user or processor metrics because you don't need to upgrade it to the new licensing model. This has been communicated to us directly from the Oracle licensing teams. You should be able to renew under your old model. Now, that doesn't mean everyone from Oracle is aware of that. You might get a sales call from a salesperson who just doesn't know because they were misinformed. No ill intent, they just don't know. So if you get a sales rep that calls you and says you need to upgrade to the new metrics, you do not. If you're still concerned and you want to get a second opinion, feel free to call us. We can tell you, or we can even talk to the Java rep if we need to and clear it up for you. The good news is eventually that rep will figure what the rules are and you won't need to purchase any existing licenses. I'll also mention here that if you purchase something from Oracle that included Java, you don't need an additional Java license for that product. Now, you can't borrow that Java license and use it for all your other products, but for that single product that includes Java prepackaged, you don't need to buy another license. That's one of the most common questions we get, so I thought I'd mention it here. Okay, so let's talk about how does Oracle even know that you have Java? Well, as this slide is titled, Java phones home, meaning that your Java installations report back to Oracle. Now, it's not doing it nefariously. It's simply calling back home for things like updates and security patches, which in itself isn't a bad thing because it's trying to keep you safe and secure. But the unfortunate byproduct of that is that it's reporting your IP address to Oracle as well as other information, possibly. It's just part of how the internet works, but keep that in mind. Additionally, Java will auto-update itself from a free version to a paid version unless you turn off the auto-updates. Now, if that's something you're unsure of how to do, we can help you with that. But it is one of the biggest issues we've seen for our clients. They'll go through the hard work of making sure they're using only non-licensable or free use editions of Java, and then one of their users will update, or it'll update itself. Keep in mind, most of your users will just go ahead and update something if it asks. They're just not thinking about it. So again, be aware that it will call home, and when that Oracle rep calls you and says, I see you have Java, they'll know which versions and where. They'll know everything. Okay, so now we're going to talk about older versions of Java that are licensable. They've been licensable since April of 2019, after the original announcement in January of that year. So Java 5, 6, and 7 are Java versions that are in sustaining support only. And Java 8 is in extended support, with their fees waived until just shy of 7 years from now, in December 2030. Now, it's not shown on this slide, but I also need to mention Java 4 is licensable as well. You'll see why later. Now, Java Web Start is another version you might see where Java 8 is the sunset release until the end of Java 8 SE extended support, which will end in 2030. Now, it's really important to know not only which edition of Java you have, but also what update number you have. That's really the key here with these older editions of Java. Okay, so as I mentioned before, we had an update about Java 4 just last month, which is that previously it was not licensable, but now is. And just like with all these other older versions of Java, what's really important to pay attention to here is the update number. So we've had people call us, and let's use the Java version update number in the bottom right cell of the table here as an example, Java 8.2.11. So they'll ask us, hey, Java 8.2.11 is free, right? And we would tell them, no, it isn't, but they still won't believe us. Now, you can trust the information shown on the table here because it comes directly from Oracle. So to briefly go through how this works, we'll use Java 4 as an example. Now, you can see that for update 30, it's free, but if you update to 31, it's a paid version. Now, I won't go through this entire table because it's relatively self-explanatory, and you're going to receive a copy of this table in the guide anyway. Now, 8 is probably the most used of the versions listed here, so I would keep in mind that for 8, 202 is a number to remember. If you have 202 or less, then you don't need a license. But if you have 211 or more, you do. So I would definitely remember that when you're looking at older versions of Java, if that's what you're using. Okay, so we're going to briefly discuss Java support. So there are two versions of support. There's long-term support and non-long-term support. Now, non-long-term support basically means that it'll be free for 6 months, and then they don't support it anymore, and then it's not free. This is usually for the latest, most up-to-date versions. And then there's long-term support, where those editions of Java are going to be supported for 5 years and then another 3 years extended. So if your aim is to have the latest and greatest versions, then you'll want to have non-long-term support. But if you don't want to worry about changing your Java version all the time, you'll want to be on long-term support. Okay. So this table here details all the support statuses of all the Java releases from Java 7 up to Java 21. Now, one update that I want to make sure I mention is that you'll see that for Java 20, it is not free. That's actually a recent change from just last month. We do have some additional information about that on the most recent blog post on our website. Now, if you're looking at this table to figure out which one you want to use, you're probably looking at 17 or 21. Now, between those two, you can see that 17 is free only until September 2024. So you have 8 months with it at this point, and then it'll become a paid version. Now, if you're looking to update to one Java version that is free and that is long-term, you can see on the table that you're going to want 21. Now keep in mind, that may not be possible for your team. You'll want to talk to your technology team about it with this information in mind. Now, we get a lot of people who come to our webinars from procurement teams or legal teams, and if you are, please don't make a plan without your IT team. The reason being is that they may not believe that one of these versions is compatible with whatever you're running. Now, again, we're going to send the guide after the webinar, which contains this table, so you don't have to worry about memorizing all this for now. Okay, let's discuss Java commercial features. Now, when we talked about those versions that are free, they are only going to be free if you're not using commercial features. So we have those features listed here, and if you're using any of these, it doesn't matter if your version is a free version. You will still have to pay for it. Now, one of the most common issues we've seen is the commercial feature listed second from the bottom, the usage tracker. So if you're using the usage tracker to see what versions of Java you have, and then you get them all to be free versions by using the usage tracker, you'll still have an issue. Just using the tracker alone is going to cause you to fail a compliance test because that is a commercial feature. So again, we'll send this to you, but what you should remember is that there are many little asterisks next to the word free. You're going to need to satisfy all those conditions, or your free version of Java will become a paid version. Okay, I'll quickly discuss sustaining support. So what does it actually mean? It means Oracle is going to only cover certain updates, bug fixes, security fixes, and upgrades. But what isn't covered are new updates, bug fixes, security fixes, and upgrades. It also won't cover 24-hour commitment to service requests with high severity levels. I won't get too deep into this topic, but I will say if you do have Oracle support and if you have trouble in terms of getting it renewed and making sure you're not overpaying for it, that's actually an area we specialize in. We actually can do your support renewals for you as it's a service we provide, and very frequently we save our clients money on it as well. Okay, so let's discuss Java alternatives. Now, as you can see from this list, there are a few alternatives to Java if you don't want to use it. They do range, and there's more than what's on this list, but these are the major ones. You can see that Microsoft has Adopt OpenJDK, Amazon has Amazon Corretto, and IBM also has one. The minute that Oracle announced their Java policy changes, all the big players in the industry said, yeah, no, we're not paying you, Oracle. We're going to make our own Java. Now, two of these stand out from the list, and that is Azul Core, previously known as Zulu, and Azul Prime, previously known as Zing. Now, we've actually helped some of our clients move to Azul, and they've saved 90% on their Java costs. Now, they're bolded here because we've seen significant advantages with Azul. They're cheaper from a support perspective, and it's very easy to migrate to their core product, which is their OpenJDK equivalent. Additionally, they're very comprehensive with support and much more responsive than most players in the field with regards to patches, which is often an issue for IT teams who are concerned about migrating to Java alternatives because of potential vulnerabilities. Now, their Prime product is different altogether. Prime is actually their own binaries. So they've modified OpenJDK and created a product that focuses on Java application performance. So if you're trying to modernize your applications, improve performance, reduce compute utilization, things of that nature, and still save money on Java costs, then Prime may be a product for you to look into. Of course, those are just some of the alternatives that are out there, and you should evaluate the alternative that is right for you. Okay, so here's another poll question. What's your Java usage? Now, we've spoken to and worked with a lot of organizations. We found organizations that have looked into this with a fine-tooth comb, and we found organizations who don't know how to even start looking. Like I said earlier, we'd advise you to look everywhere. So one of the jokes is, which I can't confirm nor deny is true, but I've heard that when you get those birthday cards that you open up and sings happy birthday to you, that has Java in it, which wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not a technologist. Anyway, again, if you can give me your answer here, we will send you the answers later. We just want to know how much people are looking into this. How much are they getting ahead of the game? We love to see that more people are working on it. When we first started doing these webinars, nearly nobody was working on it, but now it's pretty significant. We're seeing upwards of 30 to 40% of people typically are saying that they're working on it, which is honestly pretty reassuring. You should be working on it. Okay, I'll give you a few more seconds, and then we'll close the poll soon, so this will be your last chance. All right, everyone who answered, thank you very much, and we'll send these around again after the webinar. Okay, so let's just quickly discuss Oracle agreements for Java. Now, this is not super vital, but just in case for anyone who's in legal out there, you should make sure that you're reviewing your agreements under Java. And there are three main agreements that you might be under. One, the binary code license agreement. Two, the technology network license agreement. And three, the no-fee terms and conditions agreement. Now you can see that the first agreement there is for Java 7 and 8 before 2019, which is when Oracle's announcement occurred. The middle one pertains to Java versions after 2019 up to Java 16. And then finally, the newest version is the Oracle no-fee terms and conditions agreement, which covers only Java 17 and 19. Okay, so let's talk about a Java audit, or do I mean sales inquiry? Well, if you remember my sarcasm at the start of the presentation when I mentioned this is what I mean. Java audits start off with a sales call from the Oracle Java team who will call you and say, hey, I see you using Java, but I see you don't have a Java subscription. I also see how many employees you have, so here's your bill. So you need to be prepared for that phone call. They're going to be called the Global License Advisory Services, or GLAS. So if you ever heard of LMS, which was the License Management Services from Oracle, they now have a new name, which is GLAS. Now, it may not be a member of the GLAS team, but frequently we will see it'll be a conference call where they will call you with a Java sales member, and then they'll bring on the GLAS team member to try to rattle you a little bit and push you to move faster to buy a subscription. Now, in the past, they used to ask you for a count of your processors and workstations. Now they ask for your employee count. And they can look it up. So if you're a major organization, keep in mind that there are data brokers out there who can easily tell Oracle how many employees you have or know pretty close to it. They're going to ask, but they probably already know. Another risk you want to think about, I apologize there, which I already alluded to earlier, is can your users upgrade your own Java and put you out of compliance? You want to figure out a policy regarding that. And the last risk is negotiation. So the thing is, if you end up talking to these people, remember, they do this every day, all day. And if you're likely doing it once for the first time. So we don't recommend doing it alone. You should get someone to help you. It doesn't have to be us, though we would love if it was. But get someone confident to help you and don't risk going it alone. Okay, so let's talk about Java subscription term options. I mentioned gotchas that you need to look out for at the beginning of the presentation, and this is what they are. Now, if you're planning on buying a one-year subscription, you thought, hey, I think this is a good plan. Oracle will eventually call me. So I'll buy a one-year subscription now, and I can use that year to migrate off of Java, and then I should be golden. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. If you sign up for a one-year subscription, you will have to pay full back usage fees to 2019. Saying it differently, your one-year subscription is 1 year going forward and 4 years going backwards. What that means is that they will charge you for all 4 years previous to the one-year subscription based off of your usage records, which they will have. So if that's what you were looking to do, you may not be pleased with the results. Now, you could do a 3-year subscription, and that will get you up to 50% of the back usage fees. Or if you don't want to pay any back usage fees, you're going to have to sign up for a 5-year commitment, which they will give you discounted pricing on. But this is the reality of the situation if you're going forward with Java. Again, we'll send you this as part of our guide. Now, all this is usually the biggest shock that we tend to see for people. The majority had no idea that this was an issue, and it completely derails their planning. So if this was your plan, you may want to come up with a new strategy. Now, strategic planning based on your needs is core to all of our services, so if you'd like, feel free to consult us about it. Okay, so now for our final poll question. Have you gotten a Java audit letter or a Java audit phone call? Do you suspect one is coming soon? Has your regular Oracle rep mentioned Java to you? Now, just so you know, you may not be the one who gets that phone call. It's going to be whoever's the designated person on your contracts. So you might have been audited and it went to the legal team and you haven't found out yet, which does happen. Okay, wow, so every time we do this poll, we do see the yeses keep getting higher and higher. They're pretty high here. We're going to send you guys this later. Okay, we're coming in at about 50% on the yeses. That's among the highest we've ever seen, so that's pretty interesting. So if you think it's not going on, it's definitely happening. So this is the time to prepare if you haven't. It's your golden opportunity to organize and get everything in your IT environment the way you want it to be. And again, if you're looking for help on finding out where Java is, how it is, or what you should do, or what you can change, Miro will definitely help you with that. We've helped dozens and dozens of clients negotiate their Java compliance, and we can definitely help you too. Okay. Thank you again for answering our polls. We'll give it last second. Okay, we should be fine there. All right, thank you very much. Okay, So here are the conclusions we want you to take away from this webinar. Now, the probability that there's a licensable release of Java currently installed in your organization somewhere that you may not be thinking about is pretty high, which will make sense. We've shown you the tables. There's only a few and very specific releases of Java that are free. So if you're not using very precise tools and experts to look for that, you're probably going to miss one, but believe me, Oracle won't. Also, Java has adopted a policy of long-term and short-term support to make sure if you're looking to move yourself to a free version and not have to deal with it for a while, you will want to look to move to the long-term support version. Additionally, there are many alternatives to Java. Microsoft, AWS, and IBM have their own home brews, if you will, and we do find that Azure's alternatives have some real distinguishable strengths in the marketplace, but your IT team should determine what works best for you. Just know that there are alternative options. Now, you should be careful that you're looking at the right agreement when you're trying to look at your contract language. And you should also make sure that you carefully review Oracle's proposal. Now, if you haven't reviewed Oracle's proposals before, you're going to want somebody who has. There may be some items in there you need to change, like terms that your company doesn't do, like anything from your payment schedule to your usage rights. There's a lot of terms that you might need to be a little different for your purposes. Finally, you should understand that upgrading has factors of cost, compliance, and compatibility associated with it. So we've seen this in many organizations that have come to us, and the last thing we want to see you do is put together a great plan for an upgrade just to have your IT department avoid it for security or compatibility reasons, or maybe they don't have the expertise and time to do it. So if you're in procurement or legal or architecture, make sure to speak with those IT team members, especially your security team members. If someone's going to be an obstacle to your plan, we've found that it will typically be those team members. Okay, so what do you do now? Well, definitely don't do nothing. It's just a matter of time. Oracle will come knocking sooner or later. Also, you should be aware of what Java you have and where it is. You should also know if your computers or your users can update themselves out of compliance. You should know your alternatives, and you should get expert help. That is probably the most important thing that you should take away from this presentation. Don't take the information we've presented here to be enough in helping you navigate this, just to end up getting it wrong ultimately. It doesn't have to be us, though we would love it to be, but you should talk to an expert that understands the minutiae of this and your needs to help you navigate it in the best way possible. Interesting. Okay, so with that, we can get to our questions. So here's one we've got. Are the Java alternatives as secure as Java? So that's a great question. Now, one of them I talked about a bit is Azul. Azul's the only one that does critical patch updates as soon as they spot a vulnerability, and they have a fix available for it, whereas other companies only release patch updates on a monthly basis. Okay. I see another question. Do you need a Java license to use JDeveloper? I'll have one of my team members answer that. Okay. All right. So another question that a user gave us, Oracle informed us that this year we could use the legacy license, but we have to go through counting. Next year, if it will be per employee. Okay. All right, so one of our team answered it. This is a standard Oracle approach that we see recently with other clients as well. You need to give them more in-depth usage info in order to stay on old metrics. Counting co-res. Okay, I'm sorry. I misread that. So that you want to see if you were counting co-res. Okay, and next year if it'll be per employee. All right, again, the answer I gave you but just before still stands. Okay. All right, another question. What does the column LTS stand for? That means long-term support. And then where's the option if they are trying? Okay. If they're trying, you're basically under an audit. Oracle typically does not simply give up and walk away if you do not provide information. We're just contacting a qualified organization to help you manage the communication with Oracle on the situation. Okay, do we have any other questions? Okay, I see one of the team members answering the previous question on JDeveloper. Okay, so question, Java 21 is currently free for use. At what point will it require a license? As far as I know, and one of my team members could probably clear that up for me, I'm not sure that Oracle's given an answer for that as of yet. When it's that is going to change. Right now, it just is determined as free. But I mean, if someone can answer that, they'll definitely let me know. And is there a way to easily tell what job is connected to an application that was commercially purchased versus what is used independently or internally developed applications? Okay, I see someone from my team answering that as well. Okay. All right, so again, that previous question about an alternative that is mainstream in the healthcare sector. So from what we've seen, Azul is the alternative that we see most often in general. Not specifically sure about healthcare though. Okay. And then with regards to job 21, it being currently free to use and what point it'll require a license. So, all right, so Oracle can change the rules at any time, but currently it's 5 years. Okay. All right, so that's all the time that we have for questions today. Now, if we didn't cover anything you wanted to hear, if you have additional questions or you'd like to learn more about how Miro can help with your Java situation, please contact us at info@miroconsulting.com. You can also call us at 732-738-8511, extension 1208. You can find us on the web by Googling our name, and of course, you can email your sales rep or the person who sent you the invitation to this event. Again, thank you very much for your time today. My name is Stefan Singh. We will follow up with you shortly with a Java license guide and with a link to the recording in case you missed it or want to share it with your colleagues. This concludes the webinar. Again, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have a great day.